DCSO, our local county prison with the men there. And I've been lucky enough, as has Natalie actually, to attend a couple events recently where Sheriff Hall was speaking, and really I'm thrilled that he's here with us today. Natalie and I were sitting at the table, I guess, back in Daron, and Natalie's like, he's such a yogi, he just, and truly, every time I'm in your presence, I'm really humbled by the work that you're doing at DCSO, and maybe you'll share some of these statistics too, but really, Nashville is leading the way in so many different areas with our, the sheriff's office, and even retention of having his own staff there and appreciating them, and it's really this ripple effect. It's really beautiful to see how his own staff sees people and appreciates people, and we're not the only ones there doing the work of loving people and helping them get back to leading their fullest lives. There are all sorts of programming that they have, music, songwriting, the therapy dogs that come in. It's really phenomenal. So really, without further ado, we're thrilled you're here, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Come
on, Manny.
Well, I want to introduce our chief of staff, Carla West, right here. She takes pictures to prove that we work on weekends. By the way, we both have teenage sons at different schools, and they're both heading to the prom in different parts of town tonight, so we're nervous. Two different responsibilities. Wow, this is weird for me. I've done a lot of wild things and weird things in this job, and I was driving over here thinking, I wonder how many sheriffs have ever spoken to a yoga group. But the truth is, and Liz is a little bit very modest about this, she is our community partner of the year. She represents the sheriff's office and you guys, and we just gave her an award several months ago. So let's give her and I don't know if I'll ever be able to do yoga. I'm not saying I'd love to try it, but we have some kind of synergy when I sit and listen to Liz talk. And I'm honored to get to come and talk to you about what's going on, because it's unfortunate. Our country, our world is all screwed up, and what we try to do in the world of doing some good is very lost. And so I give you a couple of things. I was born and raised here in Nashville. I read the book Helter Skelter when I was 16, and I wanted to know why. I wanted to understand, if we can figure out why can't we help solve the issue, and maybe this never happens again. And at 16, that's a long time ago for me. But I've been on a crusade ever since. To if we figure out why, let's fix it, let's help. So the 17-year-old son who's headed to the prom here in a little while, when he was 6, I've been doing this all my life. When you're in this job, people call you sheriff all the time. They don't know your first name, and so my kids get sick of all that, and they go somewhere and people are talking to you in the middle of their games and all that, so they don't really like that anyway. They don't like the name or title, but they've heard it all their life. And so he was 6 years old, that's 11 years ago. And I was walking through the house and he goes, "Dad, what do you do?" And to be honest with you, it became important to me for him to really understand not the title. There's a lot of weird things about the job. You would phone rings all hours of the night. There's a lot of different things that go on. There's a lot of misconceptions of it. I don't carry guns and chase people and all these things, but that impression is all out there, right? But anyway, for a 6-year-old in the first grade, I really wanted him to know who I was. And I wasn't really prepared for the question, but I was really wanting to make sure I got the answer right. So I took him in a room in the house and sat down, and I really wanted him to understand me, and I said, "I run timeout." Now, at that age, in our house, he knows what timeout is. But I was wanting him to understand the way I view timeout in the house and the way I view my job. And I said, so we're sitting there, and I said, now when you're in timeout, you sit right over there on those steps. And there's not a whole lot of Xbox and things involved with that steps, you know. But I said, do you know that when you're in timeout, I don't love you any less? Do you understand that when you're over there, I don't feel different about you at all? And you're going to get up and leave those steps, and we're going to go on. But we need to sit on the steps for a few minutes. And I said, the people in my timeout are just sitting on the steps. They need to be loved while they're there, and when they get up and leave. And I don't want him, as a first grader, or anyone else that matters to me, to view people who make bad decisions differently than me. I make bad decisions every day. And so by the way, I was having a conversation about making bad decisions just a minute ago. The 17-year-old should head out. It was so uncomfortable. I said, you know, I was driving down the road in the car. I said, his name is Weston, and I said, Weston, I'm going to make sure you make good decisions tonight. And he goes, I know, Dad, I am. And I said, do you know, Weston, that every child who's ever been, or teenager who's ever been talked to says that same thing? And I said, so I trust that you will, but I hope that you understand that these are nights where that can become challenging as we go. But it's important to me. It's important that my 6-year-old understood me then, and I go everywhere I can go to try to explain that what our job is there are 100 people a day being arrested, and they're taken off the streets of our city. It could be me. I mean, I made many decisions that could have landed me there. It could be my son tonight. And so my belief is that mistake they make is our opportunity. And, you know, when I read the book, Helter Skelter, I wanted to know why he did it. If you don't know, you guys are a lot younger than me. That was a very weird time in the country in the late 60s where this man motivated people to really do some very bad things and kill people. In a drug culture, basically. Well, many years later, I've had 33 years, I think it is, of understanding why, or trying to figure out why people do what they do. And I'm talking more criminal behavior, not obviously. And we know why. It's not that complicated. People make it more complicated than it is. I tell people all the time, figuring out who did it's not hard at all. I mean, that's the movies make it hard. It's not that hard. I mean, crime is committed by people typically who are addicted to something first, severely addicted to something. And those people, when they're in that stage of life, typically don't make great decisions either, and they're not too hard to figure out because it's not the best clean mind sometimes. And so, who did it? It's not hard. It sells books and movies. You know, that's what everybody talks about. But why they did it is hard. Because to figure it out is not hard, but to do something about it. You know, I tell people all the time, we assess everyone who comes to jail upon arrival. And one of the things that we find out is that 9 out of 10 people will tell you that they are addicted when they arrive. Now, that's not them saying, hey, I'm addicted. As a matter of fact, if you say, are you addicted to a substance, they'll say no. Well, then when's the last time you had something to drink? Well, yesterday. Well, what was it? 3 bottles of vodka. Okay, so when I say we ask them, we're not naive, right? We're going to figure it out. So 9 out of 10 people are addicted upon arrival. And y'all know this, but that's not happy hour. And that's not one more beer and the 2 glasses of wine problem. It's a person who will steal from their loved ones and their family and their friends because they're addicted. It's a disease. There's no secret about it. And so that in itself, if we could just get our hands around it, instead of arresting the person, arrest the addiction, we wouldn't have this problem. But society views arresting the person as the solution, right? And it's not hard to arrest the person. It's easy. What's hard is to do something about it, because when you take he or she off the streets and they're addicted to meth or heroin, that's not some naive people in the country say, well, why don't they just quit? Well, it's an addiction, and it is a disease that can kill you in coming off of some of what we're dealing with. So 9 out of 10 people are addicted when they get there. What a lot of people don't know is 4 out of 10 people are diagnosed mentally ill upon arrival. Well, that is just insane, crazy that our country, our community, by the way, Nashville isn't like everybody else. I can beat up on Nashville, but I don't care if you're from somewhere else, I'll beat up on your town too. The largest mental health institution in our country is the Los Angeles County Jail. The largest one in Nashville, we run it. It is the county jail, largest mental health institution. I travel around the world. I was the president of the American Correctional Association. I travel around the world. You go in countries, in other countries, you sit in a room like this and say, my name is so-and-so from the United States. And they laugh at you. Talking about corrections and lock people who are in jail. Because no other country incarcerates people like we do. Nowhere. I lived in Australia for a while. Cool place. They laugh at the United States because they don't incarcerate people like we do. And you might say, well, why? And there's a lot of issues. People talk about race. There is a disproportionate issue. But what is more disproportionate than anything else in the world from the United States is that they do not incarcerate people who are ill. I mean, if you were naked walking down the street singing songs about the elephants that are flying over, any other country sees you as needing help. You know what we do? Arrest you. And so it's a little bit our responsibility. I'm guilty too, by the way. I'm not pointing at you. But if you walked out in the parking lot in a few minutes on your way home and some man grabs his chest and falls in the parking lot, I promise you dial 911, and I bet you would say, we need an ambulance. If we're honest, if that person is naked and singing to things that are flying over that aren't really there, we really don't have another option. We usually ask for the police. And we've got to move our country. You guys, you young people, need to move the country in a better direction, because in other places they need help. I don't have to make these stories up. About 2 years ago, right here in Nashville, within a few months of each other, a young man in the middle of the afternoon climbed up on the interstate sign, the big green sign, right out in the middle of town. He climbs up there. It's middle afternoon. Obviously, the traffic stops. There's all sorts of hysteria going on. There's helicopters flying over. There's, you're negotiating, trying to get them to come down, and everything's going on. The bottom line, after 2 hours, national news, CNN's breaking in, there's this man and all this. Blue lights are everywhere, 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Finally, the man's negotiated off the sign. He is then put in the back of a police car, blue lights, drive away, take him to what we do, which is booking and receiving. We fingerprint, photograph, we take him to court, we convict him. Society convicted him of obstructing a right-of-way. He got 20 days conviction. I get in trouble for telling you this, but he was diagnosed with severe anxiety. His anxiety was that the traffic was closing in on him, so he got out of his car to get away from it. You know what we did? We put him in a room a little bigger than this with 44 people. I mean, it's just not. And by the way, that's a story I can tell you. I can promise you, out of 100 people today, 30 of them are his category. Right? That's just one I can talk about. 2 months later, after this man on the sign, right out here in Nashville, Tennessee, middle of the afternoon, a middle-aged man walks into the airport completely naked, gets in line to buy a ticket. There were pictures. It became national news too. This man was mid-40s. What do you think we did? Call the police. They do their job. Don't blame them, right? Everybody loves to blame them. I'm not here to blame them, but their job is to solve the problem. You, as society, said that naked man, and I agree with that, can't stand in the line. You know what's kind of bizarre? It's kind of funny. In line, there were people in front of him and behind him. Somebody had to go find it. But I think what says a lot to us is that we think we solve the problem when the police come. And we put him in the car, and we drove him away. And then when he arrives, we fingerprint, we photograph, we house him, we take him to court, we convict him. Right? I don't know what the charge was, some ridiculous thing that, I've seen, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Any other country, by the way, zero intoxication in the system. Right? There was not anything influencing him. And here's my favorite way to tell people. If that man got up that day, went to the airport, and didn't wear clothes, clearly thinks he's normal in this line, going through his normal life, why in the world do you believe a judge, a police officer, a sheriff, anybody else is going to say, now the law says you must wear clothes? I mean, the point is, the criminal justice system is never going to be, shouldn't be used to solve what is an illness. And a person who didn't even know to wear clothes is now caught up in this system called criminal justice. How bad is that? No other place in the world would do that as a country, and we shouldn't want to do it here. And so what ends up happening is you're taking 100 people off the streets today, 30 to 40 of those don't belong. They would be in any other place in modern countries in a helpful healthcare institution. Instead, we put them in a jail, and God forbid it's not the best place. So what we've tried to do is, if we're going to figure out why, I just kind of gave you a couple of the big whys, let's do something about it. Here's something that gets me in trouble everywhere I go. I've never said no. If you come up to me tomorrow and say, let's make Play-Doh the new breakfast, I've never said no. Okay? I don't believe there's a simple answer. I've looked for it all my life. What triggers someone to come to terms with their addiction, and what allows someone to feel better about themselves? If you'd have told me 30 years ago I'd be talking to someone who is our community partner of the year, I'm standing in front of a bunch of yoga people, I wouldn't believe it. But who am I to say what's going to work? Who am I to know? Liz mentioned, songwriting. I'm a huge music fan, right? I can't sing a lick. I love music. I love lyrics. But this wasn't about me. We had some songwriters who wanted to come and sit in a room with people who are incarcerated and talk about songwriting. It had nothing to do with commercial songwriting. But to watch these people, it reminds me of Liz's program, where people are coming in, these macho men, right? And breaking down what is really going on in their life. Sometimes it's physical in what you guys do. But it's also someone who can't tell you that their dad poured drugs in their baby bottle, and they've been addicted since they were 11 years old and stealing since then. And the only way they can tell that story is some songwriter saying, let's talk about a verse of your life. And to watch all that come out is incredibly powerful. And I believe our job is to try to get them to come to terms with it so we can help them. 99% of the people going to jail are going home. And they're going to live in our neighborhood and your neighborhood, and our hope is that at the end of the day, society understands that. Where we don't quit believing that happens on certain streets in Nashville. That is way past anyone's comprehension. Clearly, our issues are more complicated than that. So, my hope, and we continue to try to find ways to do this, is that we don't say no. And we allow people, whether it's a faith-based community or we have all sorts of the animal stuff is fantastic. I was in Australia, I worked in a prison in Australia in 1994, and I landed there. If you've ever been to Australia, you know this, but the flight will kill you. And I was 2 days in, didn't know who I was. I went down to prison, and I looked in there, and there was a cell block, and there was animals in everybody's cell. It's about 300 bed maximum security male prison, and I'm thinking, I just saw an animal in there walking around. And I went on, and I kept thinking, I'm way over jet lag. But I sat down with the warden over there. I said, what's going on? He said, you know what? We're trying to teach responsibility to men who don't have very good skills at being responsible. And I thought, wow. And he said, it takes the stress off of each other. There's not a lot of fights. There's not news in the male institution. And so I thought, oh my gosh. Got on the plane, flew back. I didn't have the guts to do this the first day, but I kind of incorporated, believe it or not, helping animal control move onto our property. My dad was in the city council, so we got the animal control facility moved to our property. And so as we go into the building, I'm knocking on the door of the woman that runs it, and I said, we have a lot in common. We're trying to help the same thing. Do you realize that at animal control, if they don't get the animals socialized, prepared for adoption, we know what happens. And I say this all the time, so too is what I do. If we don't get this person socialized and prepared for society, I'm not saying it's going to happen in our facilities, but society is going to euthanize them. So my job is the same as yours. How do we get these things together? And it was amazing. We had some really cool situations where animals that were abused and waiting on court cases, we paired them up with a perpetrator in domestic violence. So these were men who had actively participated in domestic violence, and we paired them up with animals, puppies, who, if they can't be socialized, were going to be euthanized. And to watch this interaction, was supervised, by the way, it was incredible to watch that whole process break down, because they're not going to work if they can't function in society. That's my job. And if we can't get this animal prepared for adoption, then we've lost out on the animal as well. And so we moved from that to we put puppies in mothers' cells, who oftentimes strung out in the drugs that we're talking about aren't very good mothers. And so when you get them clean and sober, it's amazing to watch them want to be a good mom. And they work so hard at being a mom in this setting. We believe it stirs the interest of being a good mom when you're clean on the streets. It's a very hard thing to do. We do a really cool program called Mother's Day out every Thursday. We go take a couple of moms out of the institution. We dress her up like us, like she would dress on a regular work day. We take her away from the institutions. We don't tell anybody. We go pick up her kids, and we go sit in a place called Inner City Ministry in the wee hours of the night, 7 or 8 o'clock at night. We do homework, we eat, we watch TV. We treat her like mom. We're trying to get mom and child to be traditional mom and child while she's clean and sober, to want it when she leaves. And so we're working hard to try to bring those connections. But there's a lot going on, and my hope is, my goal is, don't get caught up in all that mess that people say. There's a lot of really good things that are going on. I heard Liz say this the other day. We want people leaving institutions coming here. Right? I can show you research that says if you wait until they get out to start a relationship, it's not going to happen. We've done that wrong for years and years. You have to have a built-in relationship, and that's what we think yoga and songwriting and faith and everything else is doing, is allowing them to come out, have a place together. It's not the environment in which they came. So I tell everybody, the public safety in Nashville is done by volunteers. Doing more to help Nashville and to helping people who are trying to make it, than those of us who get paid to do it. So if you've been in the jails helping us, thank you very, very much. I don't know where you stuck up to, but anyone who's done that, and about like me going to yoga, you telling someone you're doing yoga in jails, they probably would laugh at you in some parts of the country. But Liz was talking about a place out in California. She's talking about what's going on here, and so if you have an idea that's outside of yoga, we won't say no. But I hope you'll keep your head and your eyes on us and let us know what we can do to help you. So, is there anything? Anybody want a question or two? We'll get out of the way. I know you got better
Sure.
things to do.
Yeah. Anybody? Yeah, we could do a quick Q&A. If anybody has a
Or just raise your hand if you teach in the prisons.
Yeah, I was going to say, who else in it?
Janae and
Have you been in?
Renee.
Have you been in with the women, men, both?
Women.
Oh, I got to tell you something secret. Don't tell anybody I said this, but we're moving the women back.
Yes.
I know.
It's better for you.
Well, we're not going to, that's, what we got, 7 months?
Yes, probably the end of this year, first of next year.
Okay, we'll have them back. They belong with us. I mean, it's really a better place, programming and everything, but it's been a headache for everybody. So thank you for what you're doing, though. Thank all of you for coming and helping us while they're there. And if there's something we can do to help you, we're going to move. I'll give you real good news and we'll get out of your way. I know it's more important. So in 2002, I was elected in this job, and they told us that we needed to build new beds by 2014. And you do that in a long-range projection model. We had 4,000 beds. They'll be full. By the way, there were 3,000 full the day we took office. So the next 1,000 will fill up over the next 12 years. So the point was, get ready to build by 2014, and we said, why? And why are we in a system that is building beds to fill them up? It's very expensive, by the way. So in 2002, we said, we're not going to do that. That's what the projections show. 2002, we should be full by 2014. And I will just tell you, there are 4,000 beds here in Nashville, and half of them are empty. So 2,000 of those never will fill up as long as we're around. We're doing some building of beds that we have. We had to rebuild them, but we shut down the 300-bed facility this week. And we're kind of one of those weird people you'll never meet. We're trying to do away with our job. And so our celebrations aren't to build new things. It's to close things. And so we've had a good week. We got to see what we're going to tell on an old building shutting down. So if you've been in ORC, we're not going back down there. So well, that's good. Liz, thank you very much for having us on.